I'm more fanatic. Let's do this.
I know I should have given this trope to Prom Night 2 as well, since it was also a numbered sequel, and given that all of the sequels are numbered up until the 2008 reimagining starring Brittany Snow, I'm not quite sure how I missed it the first time around. Thinking back, I should have put more thought into my selection for which slasher series to start out on, with The Last Kiss and the majority of the Prom Night sequels not being slashers. The Last Kiss is the subject of this discussion, though, and as a continuation of Hello Mary Lou, The Last Kiss makes no sense, even though both films were penned at the same time by writer Ron Oliver in the hopes of an eventual sequel. Other than being set at Hamilton High and having Mary Lou Maloney, which is debatable as her character in no way resembles her previous incarnation, in either appearance or manner, and where Prom Night is often considered a classic in the slasher subgenre, and Hello Mary Lou falls more heavily into possession narrative, The Last Kiss plays as a straight ghost story with a very poor attempt at being a morality tale.
Cheaters, be warned.
So Mary Lou finds herself back in hell. How she got there, I don't know.
No, not that time. This time!
Let's cruise.
Last time we saw her, she's wearing that sweet, vintage, near mint condition 1987 Michael Ironside. And for what I've been told, that's a mighty sweet ride.
Well, Hell's apparently a high school complete with a bad production that includes a chorus line.
Seems legit.
She frees herself with a nail file. Wait, didn't she win? I distinctly remember her winning. Well, at the very least, she got her crown. It feels like I'm missing part of the story here. Who worked the mojo to send her back to hell? Or did she get sent back after having killed everyone at the end of Hello Mary Lou? And what happened to her magic trunk? So what does the freshly freed from hell Mary Lou do? She kills the janitor in the boiler room, of course. In her defense, Jackie Boy here does admit to watching her die the first time around. I don't know which one he is. Let's just say he's this guy here. So at least she has some actual motivation this time around.
Mama said I'd be a heartbreaker.
No, movie. Not funny. Try again.
After the janitor's untimely end, we get to meet this film's, protagonist? Alex, who, for the remainder of the review, I'll be referring to as Shitheel, as he is so thoroughly unlikable as a character, and is such a terrible boyfriend, I'm gonna keep a running tally. Not that Sarah, his girlfriend, is much better, as she comes off overly weak, timid, and often just as annoying as Shitheel. Too cool for school principal, who wants to remain relevant and hip, gives a speech for the commemoration of the new gym.
Even the sudden and unexplained fire which destroyed part of this very gymnasium couldn't keep us down. And so, it's an honor to officially reopen the gym for our new year here at Hamilton High School.
After the events in the gym, we meet Shitheel's only other friend, Shane, which isn't surprising as Shitheel is so damn annoying. Shane wants to take a cross-country road trip over the summer with Shitheel, but Shitheel has promised to spend the summer on a ranch with Sarah. This is a very disposable subplot that adds very little to the story, mainly functioning as a source of conflict where one isn't particularly needed. We then get to learn just how average Shitheel is from the worst guidance counselor of all time, who basically ridicules Alex for wanting to attend med school. I think the counselor is supposed to be filling in the role normally reserved for the popular cheerleader stereotype, but this causes the counselor to come off as mean and out of place.
Thursday?
Here's where we start to see Shitheel's true colors, as he forgets his and Sarah's anniversary. But he manages to wiggle out of it, saying he's made plans for a candlelit dinner for them later. A good enough cover since she buys it, but he compounds this by taking her to a drive-thru and eating in his car. This could have worked. Don't whine about it. Just call and get a last-minute reservation at a sit-down restaurant, the kind with a tablecloth. You know, a classy establishment. He cuts the date short in order to study for a hard test the following day that he needs to pass, and heads back to the school for some books he'd forgotten after dropping off Sarah. Locked out, since, you know, school's closed, he gets mysteriously let in to the knownly haunted school. Mary Lou appears before Shitheel with the inclination for murder. but he mistakes her for Sarah and kisses her, healing her burn scars.
What? Don't look to me for answers.
This wouldn't be an issue since he was under the impression that she was Sarah when he kissed her, but then he beds Mary Lou after realizing that she wasn't. And why on an American flag? I think Ron Oliver is trying to say that cheating is our patriotic duty as Americans. So then this happens. Because no one saw him before the bell rang? This scene is just so out of place. Hell, this would be out of place in a Benny Hill sketch. We then get introduced to the film's secondary villain, in the form of the asshole jock stereotype and shit-heel's rival, Andrew. We're supposed to hate this guy, but since Shitheel is so unlikable, I actually found myself liking this guy. Sarah forgives Alex for the shittiest first-year anniversary ever because she doesn't get mad.
I bake.
Before you get too invested, she never learns Shitheel is a cheating shit, stands by him the whole time, and get used to the baking line. It's her one and only joke. Nick, Shane, and Shitheel happen over an old article about Mary Lou's death. So, you learn the girl that you cheated on your girlfriend with is the murderous ghost that stalks the halls of your school. Do you A. Piece the fuck out, or B. Go to class for the test that you in no way studied for, even though it's the sole reason you ditched out on your shitty one-year anniversary? You're thinking A, aren't you? Wrong. He takes the test, well, almost.
You want to write that test? Or what?
What?
Attention girls weightlifting team, a clinic on facial hair removal will be held in the East Gym and attendance is mandatory.
No, movie. Not funny. Try again.
Shitheel whines some more, this time about the team he's on for practice. But never mind fair play, or hard work, or even teamwork, because with the help of a ghost, you can cheat your way to victory. After the practice game, he gets in a little confrontation with Andrew because Andrew feels that one cop pass will cost him his spot on... Well, okay, well, he really doesn't have a reason. Well, other than Shitheel's a giant shit.
Andrew Douglas, report to the office, please. Your mother brought your lunch.
Boy, you're lucky this time. But I'll be seeing you around.
Well, I'll wear cologne.
Still not funny. Again?
After his teacher Walker fails Shitheel for his terrible work, Mary Lou intervenes. Again. This time rewriting Shitheel's paper right in front of the teacher, who really doesn't seem to question it. Or the girl in the costume that magically appeared. This is where Walker meets his end at Mary Lou's hands. Speaking of hands...
Whoa. You're real?
What the? Who did you think you were boning?
Shitheel finds his gruesomely murdered teacher and decides to hide the murder. At first he's hesitant, but after a non-possessing kiss from Mary Lou, he decides to stash the body and cleans up like he's an actor in a goddamn infomercial. We get a lame false jump scare from Shane, who does do a bit of sly foreshadowing.
None of us are getting out of here alive.
What?
It's the nuclear age, man. One bomb. Goodbye.
Shut up, Shane.
When I go, I want it to be on my parents' white living room rug.
Shut up, Shane.
And I want it to be really...
Luckily, Shane is fortunately one of the few likable characters in the film. Shitheel gets in another fight with Sarah, this time over ditching out on her so he can clean up the murder scene. Why does she even want to stay with this asshole? There's nothing even remotely endearing about him. This argument happens after she throws him a surprise party with his parents for getting an A+. Yes, that A+. So he goes back to the school to finish hiding Walker's body. Where did he keep it? And why did no one find it in the meanwhile? Oh well. So, Shitheel decides to bury the body in the most inconspicuous place ever. The fucking football field. We get some more fan service as Mary Lou does a striptease to keep Shitheel motivated so he can cheat with her again. He does this after not only learning she's a ghost, but also a murderer.
Look, I'm warning you, if anybody finds out about us...
You'll what? She's a ghost, you idiot!
I said, do you love me?
Yes.
Good.
He knew what he was doing. Don't you dare pity him for sleeping with Crazy.
Andrews, get over here! Come on!
Yeah, Coach.
Yeah, Andrew, take a seat. You're out of here.
What?
Yeah, Gray, come on, let's go.
Ray!
Yeah. Okay, Gray. Do your stuff, buddy. Come on!
Shitheel gets to play in the game after his Mary Lou aided performance at practice, and he oh so discreetly hides the badly buried body before catching the game-winning pass. Because people buried in shallow graves is funny, apparently. Next, Shane gets upset at Shitheel for selling out and getting on honor roll. Something the guidance counselor notices after his grades change in front of her eyes. Suspecting he's a cheating shit, she goes to confront him only to be caught by Mary Lou, who we all know has the power to know everything all of the time. Mary Lou does what she does, killing the counselor in a comedic fashion. We go from that to this. Students talking about stuff? But Andrew has some ideas about kicking the nerds off the team because sports aren't about teamwork or fair play, as we know. It's about being cool, and nerds aren't cool. Shitheel gets called away to cover up the newest murder.
I don't want any friggin' pie!
I don't think they realized that wasn't funny.
Why me? Why are you doing this to me?
Yes, she's doing this to you. You had no part to play in your terrible exploits. And, as we all know, murder is the ultimate aphrodisiac. Shitheel cheats. Again. Subtle, guys. Real subtle. Shitheel continues his shitheel ways to both Sarah and Shane, but it's okay, because he gets a motorcycle when he gets home for getting on honor roll. This somehow causes him to become a greaser stereotype, and has a weird throwaway scene with his dad talking about dating man-killers. His dad has figured out what no one else in this movie has, that he's a cheating shit. But he doesn't call him out on it. He then heads back to the school to bury the counselor, in the same place where he had to push the fingers back into the ground. He gets not caught by Andrew, who's just there because he's upset at Alex winning them the game. Mary Lou steps in again and kills Andrew with a football drill. Finally tired of covering up murders, Shitheel breaks things off with Mary Lou, who handles the situation rather well.
Did she forget the right way to throw a temper tantrum?
So after being a terrible boyfriend, Shitheel decides to go back to Sarah and literally grovels for her to go to prom with him. Because now it's time to talk about that prom thing. You know, the thing that's in the film, it has it in its title. but Sarah has already been asked by Leonard. But she says she'll think about it anyway. Mary Lou messes with Alex during class, and he gets questioned later by police, because people going missing tends to get noticed. At dinner, to help Sarah decide between him and Shitheel for who to take to prom, Leonard pitches the most rigid and organized prom date ever that allows for 7 minutes for anything to happen. The only somewhat scary scene falls next, in which the zombie corpses of Mary Lou and Shitheel's victims, yes, his, he's just to blame for this mess, rise and come after him. But he's woken from the dream by his sister, and the movie continues with its increasingly unbalanced tone. Of course, the bodies get discovered, and the police respond to the scene, where they continue with actual police work.
Bananas, cherries.
Wait.
Nah, it can't be. Now prom nights have something else in common besides a throwaway line in a school.
How? When 2 was made, it wasn't even a prom night film yet. So that had to have been a fluke. But to be in 4 of these...
Another teacher?
Damn!
The guidance counselor.
He's gonna be my new favorite character. If for no other reason, I'll pretend that Larry here was Josh's twin brother.
Hey, I know he didn't have one, but just let me have this.
So now that Shitheel has realized the error of his ways, he turns to Shane, who he's been an awful friend to all this time, for help.
You know what the really scary part about it is? I think I started to like it.
I mean, made the honor roll. I got popular. I got a motorbike. And all I had to do was dig a few holes and boff a ghost. It's easy.
No, movie. You can't make him a victim all, woe is me. He covered up those murders to bone a ghost. He made his haunted bed, and now he can lay in it.
But Mary Lou has her own plans for Shane, appearing in the guise of Shitheel's sister to seduce him, because it was so clearly demonstrated that Shane had feelings for her. He's showing more interest in Shitheel than her. But Shane does get killed for just considering breaking the bro code.
I told you I don't give up easy, Alex.
He was my best friend.
Well, he's a rumor now. You don't need friends. You don't need family. All you need to do...
Shitheel wakes up and argues with Mary Lou. After Mary Lou threatens his family and vanishes, Shitheel heads home, passing Shane's parents, who find their son's body and call the police. The police respond, learning that the parents witnessed Shitheel fleeing the scene. This, coupled with a little bit of police work.
He had blood in his hands. You got Alex Gray's statement? You're idiots, it's right here. Asked about his relationship with missing person. Alex Gray replied, we weren't close friends.
Results in the police going after him. But Shitheel is armed and waiting for... Mary Lou?
She's a fucking ghost!
Shitheel accidentally fires on the police as they come to arrest him, causing them to blast the door to smithereens. But no one in the house gets hurt? How did they miss everyone? Regardless, Shitheel was arrested and charged with the murders. Yet somehow we're supposed to feel bad about this. Sarah gets ready to go to prom with Leonard, but Mary Lou, determined to keep her man? Since when has she given 2 shits about fidelity? She shows up at the prison, threatens Sarah, and kills a pair of guards. So Shitheel breaks free, taking Larry hostage. It might be since Larry is played by Brock Simpson and is my favorite character in the film, just as Josh was in the last one, but I really do enjoy this scene. I keep wondering what Larry is thinking here. But Larry gets dressed up on the sidewalk and Alex shoots the radio.
You know,
Wait,
why?
why?
Make me look like a
Why
total
did no one
jerk.
hear the gunshot at the prom? You know what? Whatever. Inside the prom, Leonard and Sarah do their thing. Well, Leonard does his thing. Who knew this guy could dance? Way to go, Leonard. But Sarah's determined to be a wet blanket. But Leonard not only understands, he sympathizes with her, even stating that he believes in Shitheel's innocence. While Sarah goes to the bathroom to have a drink to survive the hell on earth she must be experiencing, Leonard is lured away by Mary Lou.
Oh no, not Leonard. He hasn't done nothing.
But for reasons that no one can describe, let alone understand, Mary Lou kills poor Leonard. Mary Lou then chases Sarah through the school. The scene actually reminds me a bit of the chase scene in the first film. It also has some nice Raimi-style camera work. And the killer gaze POV shots that are hallmarks of the slasher genre. So at least I gotta bring that up. Shitheel busts into the prom looking for Sarah, who just happens to be there, not even out of breath. This causes Mary Lou to appear, and Shitheel decides to go with her in exchange that no one else has to die. She accepts.
It's not who you come with, it's who takes you home.
And the two descend into hell. But Sarah, still in love with Shitheel, dives in after him. She finds herself in the Hell School, which does have some memorable shots, where she eventually is chased by the dead zombie spirits of Shane, Leonard, and Andrew, who eventually trap her in the auto shop, where I shit you not, she builds a flamethrower in seconds. She tows the trio and escapes, only next to do battle with the jukebox. Whatever, movie. The jukebox cuts a fuel line before dying. That's the real takeaway here. Sarah then confronts Mary Lou.
I don't get mad. I bake.
It'll never be funny.
But as her flamethrower isn't working, she ends up going mano-a-mano with her instead. Shitheel just whines the whole time. He's useless, even after they blow up Mary Lou and escape. Sure, he mans up, but it takes way too long to get there. And after the zombie students trap them in the car, it's Sarah who gets them out of it by hot-wiring the car.
Sure, whatever. I'm over it.
Shitheel is forced to finally make his decision. He drives through Mary Lou, returning them to the real world safe, which makes just as much sense as anything else. They stop to call home, and Shitheel can't even make a phone call without Sarah's help. But Mary Lou kills Sarah out of nowhere, leaving Shitheel to realize he's still trapped in hell.
So that's Prom Night 3, The Last Kiss. Final thoughts? Well, where Prom Night 1 is a classic of the slasher subgenre, and Hello Mary Lou is an oddly endearing B-movie, albeit heavily flawed, and has no real connection to the original, 3 has less of a connection to either of them. Its characters are boring or at the very least terrible people, the jokes always fall flat, and the story never seems to know what it's doing. Do I have anything good to say? Well, at least my burger was good.
That first night when I met you, I knew things would be fine. I'd have your love forever, and the last kiss would be mine. The last kiss will be mine.